pops up.
Okay. Drink your 5th seltzer water.
This is, I guess this would be number 5. Yeah. 5th or 6th. Oh, live here. Not live on YouTube yet. There we go. All right, we're good now. All right.
What?
We're live. So what is going on, Miss Laura Myers? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a pretty cool guest on tonight. She is pretty much my health junkie that whenever I get sick, feel like garbage for no apparent reason, drink too much caffeine, and struggle throughout the day. She's just sort of my go-to person whenever I have health issues. And I know that I can solve it very simply with just changing my diet. So we have Laura Myers on this evening, and we've known each other for 10, 11 years now.
Over a decade.
Over a decade.
Crazy.
Over a decade. That is nuts. That's wild.
We're old.
So we're old. As old. Yeah, right. As like everybody's like old. So we've known each other for over a decade. We have obviously interacted through a variety of different situations, but most recently because you've been in Nashville, now back in Lancaster, and I have been in Boston. We've been communicating a lot via text message and FaceTime, and I would say 50% of that is me saying, I feel like garbage and I don't know why. Can you help me?
Help!
So yeah, help! So why don't you just give everybody a little bit of background? I've talked you up a little bit, but let's give everybody a background about how you kind of got into being a registered dietitian, how you got on this path in the first place, where the passion I guess for it kind of came from, and then what you sort of do on a day-to-day basis now, and sort of where you see that going moving forward.
All right, I'll try to make that quick. So I think my passion for nutrition started in high school. I wanted to be a teacher my entire life, an elementary school teacher. And then when I played soccer in high school, I played soccer my whole life. I just started eating better because I felt like crap, and it made my performance so much better. I played and felt so much better after that. And also my grandfather, while I was in high school, was told that he had pre-diabetes, and all he did was start exercising more, and he changed his diet, and then he never developed diabetes. He's not dealing with any of that anymore. So it just like blew my mind that just by changing the way you're eating, he never developed any of those diseases.
And out of curiosity, I'm going to interrupt you here because I never knew that. So out of curiosity, was it like a couple changes? Was it was it one or two major things that he recognized, or his doctor may have recognized, that were like you got to cut these things out in order to sort of thwart this a little bit, or was it a variety of different things that he sort of just had to balance, I guess?
Well, his doctor didn't really recommend anything because that's not really their job. They just kind of tell you what's happening, and they solve most things with medications because that's their job. Not that that's wrong or anything, but that's what they're supposed to do. So my grandfather never really exercised, so he started walking every morning, and he ended up going up to 4 miles every morning he would walk.
Wow.
Not that everybody has to do that, but that's just what he felt he needed to do. And he used to just like sit on the couch and eat a bunch of junk food all night long, like chips, pretzels, all that stuff. And he just started eating like more fruits and vegetables. He would still eat that stuff, and he still does today. And my grandma still cooks for him, like everything she always used to cook. She just tries to cut out some of the butter and all that bad stuff. But
the fattier portions of the meal.
Yeah, it wasn't like he made a huge drastic change where he's eating completely different than he used to his entire life. He's just adding in more healthy foods and exercising more. All he needed to do was lose like 15 pounds, and that solved all of his issues. So
that's nuts. So after seeing this, you decided this is the route that you wanted to go, and you ended up attending the Pennsylvania State University.
Yes, I went there, and I majored in nutritional sciences, and my minor is in human development and family studies because I feel like that relates a lot to how people are raised and the way they eat and the way they view food and stuff like that. And then after that, to become a dietitian, you have to do an accredited dietetic internship to gain 1,200 practice hours working with dietitians and different things like that. So I did mine outside of Nashville with the National Healthcare Corporation, and I was there for 9 months. Now I'm back in Lancaster, and I'm working at Lancaster General Hospital as a clinical dietitian. So just seeing patients in the hospital for whatever reason that may be. So.
And what's the difference from your rotations that you were doing down in Nashville to what you're doing now? Is there any major difference? Is it kind of standard across the board, or were there some rotations that you liked a little better than other rotations? What's in comparison to like what you're doing right now? What's sort of the difference?
So for my internship, we had 12 different rotations. So I was in a hospital, I was working with sports dietitians, I was doing corporate wellness, working with companies and trying to get their employees healthier, doing promotions and different health fairs and stuff like that. So I kind of saw every single aspect of nutrition and what dietitians could do. My role now is strictly being a clinical dietitian. So that's doing medical nutrition therapy with patients who are in the hospital, whether that be diabetes management or they have chronic heart failure. It's more of the medical side that I'm doing now in the hospital. But in the future, I see myself doing more health and overall wellness just for, individuals who want to make changes in their daily lives. And, I'm kind of more of the holistic dietitian where I like doing things with natural whole foods and versus medications. So
yeah, I think that's sort of a perfect segue into where we were going tonight. So I had Charlie Bathgate on, who is the CEO of Sang Lucci. That was episode 1. For those of you who did not watch it, it was an awesome segment. We discussed sort of the mental health side of things. Tonight we're going to get a little bit into mental health, but we're mostly going to stick with the physical changes that you can make to your diet. But in that we discussed something called the power list. I also wrote about it in a post about a month ago. And the power list sort of comes from a mindset and I guess just a way to get yourself into habitual thinking from a guy named Andy Frisella, who I listen to nonstop. Great entrepreneur who's just sort of taken off as of recent on social media. But the power list is something that I sort of brought up to you, and it's something that I enjoy bringing up to people that come on with different topics. Just because you get sort of a different feel for what they focus on in their own field. So I guess tonight, because you sort of did start to talk about that holistic side of what you do, we can start off with your power list with regard to eating.
Yes. So number 1 on my power list is obviously going to be food because I'm a dietitian.
That shocks the hell out of me, I'll tell you.
And the reason this is so important for anybody, but especially traders, is because you need to take care of your body in order to perform well during the day. If you're sick or feeling like shit from whatever you're eating, you're not going to be trading well. You're going to be sitting there like, ugh, I feel horrible. Like,
you're going to feel like garbage. You're going to feel like garbage. And from from a trader's perspective, we are probably worse than most people in the financial field with regard to health related things. The phrase of work hard and play hard has kind of been thrown out there, and I think the traders sort of live that. I know plenty of them that definitely live that. So for those guys, I think that I have sat behind a number of really, really successful guys, and many of them order in. They won't make their own food. They sort of struggle with that, and I think that you sort of make that relationship between whole food and processed food. I know you're going to touch upon that tonight too.
Yeah. So the reason that I'm all about whole natural foods is because when you start processing foods and putting them in packages, you're adding lots of salt and sugar and other processed crap that you don't need.
Yeah.
If you're eating a lot of salt from these processed foods, your body's going to hold on to water, and you're just going to feel extra bloated and extra nasty if you're sitting there in your chair. So my number 1 tip would be just to add more fresh foods into your diet. You don't have to cut out all processed foods altogether because that's almost impossible in our world today. But if you just add more fresh foods, you can still keep some of your processed foods, but you're just getting more of the benefits of these fresh foods. So, for example, fruit is one of the easiest things to travel with if you don't have time. You can just grab a banana and take it to work with you and eat that as a snack, or an apple or an orange, or whatever you want to eat. You can even try packing your own sandwiches, because if you pack your own sandwich versus buying it at a store, there's going to be chemicals and preservatives on that sandwich that you're buying to keep it on that shelf. So you're even cutting down just by making your own things, and you're saving so much money. I have so many recipes because I was in college and poor, so I still needed to eat healthy.
Hey there, that's where I'm at right now. What's going on? Not college anymore, but still, you know, balling on the budget, as some of us may call it, and that makes perfect sense. And I think that this is probably a good time for me to like do a guilty confession, and this is probably a good time to talk to you about it too. I eat a lot of pasta. So I went to a place in Southie called Foodies last night, and that's sort of like our local food mart. I kind of rack it up there with Whole Foods, but it's more like local stuff.
Okay.
Now they have unreal produce: the steak, the fish, the chicken. It's always fresh.
That's
but
awesome.
I spend probably $24 to $30 on, you know, the meats and the poultries and that aspect of things a month. $55 of that goes to pasta sauce, both Alfredo and tomato basil, or vodka sauce, whichever one I choose that night, whatever I'm feeling. And milk. But you know, a lot of my staple diet, because it's easy and it's fairly cheap, is pasta. What would you stray away from that? Would you add things to it? What's a good complement, I guess, for the pasta obsessed like myself?
There's nothing wrong with pasta. However, it's very easy to eat too much of it, because a portion is only a third of a cup, which is like the size of my fist, which is not a lot. And if you go to a restaurant, you get like four to six portions. So,
I make a box every time I sit down and do it. So
okay, I would recommend getting whole wheat pasta.
Okay.
If you like it, or maybe trying to switch it up with different grains. Like, did you ever try quinoa?
No, but my roommate eats quinoa.
There you go.
And I know people that do eat quinoa. Quinoa's like, I was baffled by like what it actually is.
It's just kind of like another grain, like rice. Honestly,
I didn't know.
There's a huge buzz about it, but it's just kind of like rice, except it has extra protein in it. It has about 9 grams, so you're getting more.
Oh wow! Okay.
For your buck, exactly. Instead of just getting pasta, which has really nothing in it, you're getting more nutrients and you're getting protein, which is good for any man.
So talk to me. Talk to any guy. Okay. So talk to me about the taste of it. Like, is it good? Like, what's quinoa? All I can think about whenever I think of quinoa, I think of that football commercial last season where he's at the Bears game and the guy's got that brick and he's like, "Quino, what is quino?" You know, he keeps pronouncing it wrong the entire time, and it's just this brick, and it looks like it just doesn't look appealing. And I think ever since I saw that commercial, I'm like, I can't eat that. I don't even know what it is.
So it's found in the rice section in most grocery stores, and it comes in a box just like rice. And they even have flavored kinds. I get the red pepper, or they have olive oil and garlic. And you literally just boil water, put that in, put the the packet of spice in, mix it around. It's made.
Like, is it healthier than ramen noodles if you didn't use the powder for ramen noodles? Because that's where all the sodium is for ramen.
Ramen noodles are just, there's really nothing
healthy about ramen noodles.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't give you that one.
We're gonna rule out ramen. Ramen's out. Ramen's done.
Okay. For your pasta sauces, though.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
One tip I have for you. The other day, I was at the farmer's market, and they had this whole bin of tomatoes that were kind of like bruised and looked a little older. Yeah. And they were so cheap. I think I got like this huge bag for like $1 because they looked bad.
Really?
So they were just trying to get rid of them. Yes. So I just threw those in a pot, and they like, burst open and all the juices flew out, and then I just put that over pasta. And it was super cheap.
You're
and it's
kidding
so much
me.
better for you.
And it's not, then it's better for me, right? So it's like, because you get what? It's a lot. It's like the sodium thing. So like the difference between whole foods and processed food, I'm assuming, is is that sodium, so it actually keeps its flavor and everything else that's in there, correct?
Yeah, sodium is the main thing, and then there's just other additives that we don't even know what they do to our bodies. They haven't really been, can't be good, but we don't really know. And I just feel like it tastes better, and then you could add any other spices you want into that, like garlic, onion, all that stuff. So that's a way to save money. And a lot of the farmers markets that I go to, or Amish markets in Lancaster, they will have bananas that have the brown spots on them for like 10 cents for a pound when they're normally like 39 cents because they're going bad, but they're actually ripe when they have the brown spots on them. So I always take them and I freeze them if I don't eat them right away and use them in smoothies or whatever.
Freeze them.
So
oh, that's interesting.
That's a reason to go to farmers markets. You can always bargain with them too, especially if you become friends with them.
I wish we had. So we have like you got to go out of the city to get to the farmers markets, but there are good farmers markets for my friends in Massachusetts. Medway, I know, and like they probably like do. We've known about this for a while. It's only been up for 5 years, but there are farmers markets anywhere, I feel like, and even, and I don't know, maybe not in the outskirts of New York City. I'm not sure. I know a lot of traders are in there, but I know that farmers markets come to town every now and then, and there's a nice little grocery store in the financial district as well down in New York. So it's where I got all my fresh produce when I was there in 2013. But with so I want to do one thing before we move on to the hydration section, and that's talking a little bit about the processed foods that are out there that are supposedly healthy. And this is for like everybody that loves it and hates it. And I'm thinking of one specific person that hates it, which is Lucci, and that's Chipotle. So everybody loves Chipotle. Like it's like I love Chipotle. It's delicious. It's like I can load up a bowl for literally $10 or $11 and just get
I like Chipotle too.
ridiculous amount of meat and just everything else in it. Like, is Chipotle as healthy as Chipotle says it is?
It's hard to say. I would say no, being my first reaction.
Okay.
It's not like McDonald's that everything is super fried. However, in the meats and beans and even the guacamole, we have no idea what they're using to make that guacamole or what kind of sauces they have. A lot of sauces have so much sugar in them and different things. Like we have no idea how much fat's in them, how many calories. So it's really hard to say.
So all that shit that they always say about like, GMOs and non-steroid chicken and fresh like 3 to 5 days or all the things that they live by, they're good, but it's not like end all be all. Like it's still, there's still additives there that if you ate Chipotle every day, it's kind of like that Super Size Me movie. It's like the guy ate McDonald's for like 30 days straight, gained 20 pounds. His doctor was
I don't know if it's that bad. But it's great that they have non-GMO meats or antibiotic-free animal meats and all that stuff. That's great, and they can't make those claims unless they're true. So we know that those are definitely true.
Okay.
But if you're trying to lose weight or be healthier, I wouldn't suggest going to Chipotle just because you have no idea what's in that. If you're going once in a while, that's totally fine. But I wouldn't eat it every day. One, because you're probably eating bigger portions than you should, and two, it'll be expensive if you eat there every day. Yeah.
Okay, I like it. I just wanted to bring that up. That was like when you were talking about processed foods, I was like, I gotta go to Chipotle. So everybody's gonna want to know about that because everybody eats it. Everybody that I know loves it and eats it.
I love Chipotle too.
I don't.
But
I love Chipotle.
Go on Chipotle's website and see if you can look up their calorie menu. They should have a menu with how much calories and everything. And even if you go to some of the Chipotles, they have it on the wall. I was looking once, and I just couldn't believe that there was so many calories in certain things that you would normally have no idea.
Huh.
Like I usually get
double chicken, and you're loading it up with sour cream, and the next thing you know, it's just like you just doubled the calorie count.
Oh yeah, if you get the cheese and sour cream, that's like 500 calories probably right there. Jesus. Okay. That's why it tastes so good.
That's why it tastes so good. You got all these calories, and it's freaking delicious. Okay. That's awesome. So let's talk hydration. I think this was like when I got the idea of having you on here. It was when I was like downing 5 coffees a day and just was like wired constantly and was not hydrating well at all. And then when you said you gotta get away from coffee, I switched to juice, and then you yelled at me for that. So for like 2 months straight, I couldn't do anything right. And let's like go over that, because I know my friends are big juice guys, and some of them drink a lot of water, but some of them also drink a lot of juice, and they sometimes feel really tired. And
Mhm.
I got some coffee addicts in my crew of friends up here too, and it's to make yourself more efficient during the day and to help you focus. I now have one coffee during the day after kicking it for like 3 months straight, from
That's awesome.
May all the way until like August. And then it was like middle of August. I had a coffee one day and I thought I was gonna explode. I wasn't used to it.
You're not used to that.
Yeah, I lost all feeling of caffeine, and I was
Yeah.
just like, how the hell did I have 4 of these a day and didn't
I
even
know.
flinch? And it was nuts. So talk to me a little bit about how you sort of went about A, diagnosing my issue, and B, kind of educating me on what I should versus shouldn't be doing with regard to like appropriate hydration.
Okay. So I remember this conversation with you, and I knew that you drink caffeine like a maniac because you just always talk about it. And so then when I asked you, what else are you drinking there during the day? And you were just like, oh, nothing. Because you don't think about it because you're so concentrated on your screen all day, and you need that coffee to keep you awake.
Yeah.
The thing with staying hydrated is that even when your body is 2% dehydrated, you can show signs of fatigue and you won't be able to concentrate as well. So it's very important, especially for you guys, to stay hydrated because you need your mind to be perfect and to be concentrated on what you're doing throughout the day. So, and I know it can be hard to remember to drink things when you're just going in a million different directions.
Yeah.
Sitting
your
there. But that's why
90 miles an hour constantly. So
exactly. So start with just keeping water or something either on your desk or next to you that you can just sip throughout the day. There's no minimum that I'm going to give anyone to drink throughout the day, but just try to improve on what you're doing right now. So I always keep water with me. I have some right here because I'm thirsty all the time. But just keep that with you. I would suggest water,
I also
unsweet
have some
tea,
right here. I also
that
have some.
seltzer, flavored seltzer water. That's great. Unsweet tea you could also do if you want something flavored. With caffeinated drinks, you want to try to limit yourself to 400 milligrams or less a day.
So 400 milligrams or less. So I'm going to go with 2 examples. Now, you probably don't know exact figures, but let's talk Starbucks and Dunks, right? The 2 main like coffee guys. So in a large iced black Starbucks coffee, how many milligrams of caffeine would you like estimate? Like that's a lot of coffee.
Okay.
It's like I think it's like 16. I think it's a 16-ounce thing. It's probably bigger, to be completely honest.
If I had to guess,
yeah,
maybe I don't know. I could look it up, but
is that like, would that be one day? Like, is one? It's pretty much what
that would
the
be
point
one day.
is like one day. That's it. 400. You said 440. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
440? Okay. So that like that large ice black, that's you're done. You should be cutting yourself off.
Yeah, I would say try to limit yourself to 2 cups, 2.5 maybe a day.
Yeah.
But it's hard to determine how many because all coffee has different amounts of caffeine in it, so it's really hard to say. That's why I would say shoot for 2 or less.
Okay.
When you get above 400 milligrams, that's when your body starts to show signs of dehydration from the caffeine alone. So if you're drinking that and not hydrating at the same time, then you're going to be extra dehydrated and just feel tired. Like if I'm on the floor seeing patients all day,
it's like I feel like it's the antithesis of like what caffeine's supposed to do. I think people misunderstand that. They're just like, oh, well, I'm drinking coffee, so I should be fine, right? I shouldn't be tired. Why do I feel tired? Why do I feel like garbage at the end of the day? It doesn't make any sense. And some people are just like, oh, well, it was like a long trading session, so that's why I feel like crap. Or, oh, well, I was working on a massive, M&A project, so that's why I was busy. Oh, I was meeting with clients all day, so that's why I feel like garbage, just because maybe I'm run down or I'm tired. And that could have obviously, effects of it. But if you're down in 4 cups of coffee a day, that could also have like an additional adverse effect. Am I right?
Yeah, and the caffeine, what it does is it just gives you all this energy all at once, and then it's going to wear off at some point. And then when that wears off, you just feel like so tired and you need another cup. So you take another cup, and then you just constantly are having coffee throughout the day, and then the effects start to not work, and you need more and more and more to have the same caffeine effect. It's kind of like alcohol.
I was going to say, it's like booze. Well, it's really like anything. It's like booze. It's like drugs. I mean, anything that you could put in your body that's just like you can build up a tolerance to, like you were saying. You know, it's like that. It's like anything like that. So caffeine is like a drug for traders during the day. You know, it's like what's like a Red Bull. So if I were to put back I used to do the 16 ounces, and that's just like I know I shouldn't have been doing that.
Way
like,
too much.
Yeah, right. You're probably overloading your system and with the sugar and everything too. So, but if I have a Red Bull, which I very rarely do, it's like once a month I'll have a Red Bull.
Yeah.
And it's typically not even during the week. It's like on the weekends. I do sugar-free, and it's the small ones, like 8.4 ounce one. So it's not even like the one in the middle, that 12 ounce one.
Yeah, I think those are fine.
Those are fine. Okay.
Yeah, but if you consider that into your daily allotment of caffeine, you can do that. I talked to a lady before who drank 2 cups of coffee every day and then 2 huge monsters, and she would not give up her monsters. So I said, that's fine. You can keep one of those, but then drink decaf coffee because she really liked the taste. So she did the decaf coffee, and then she kept her monster because she couldn't live without it. So you just gotta make it fit into your below 400, and you're good.
And what? Out of curiosity, was her job performance based? Did you know what she did for employment?
I don't remember exactly what she did, but she did work in an office, and she actually bought a treadmill desk to walk on because she was determined to lose weight and just to be healthier. So
she was in that health mindset. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That kind of gets right into the physical activity. Your last point on your power list. That's a perfect segue. So
number 3 on my power list.
We got the eating down. We're eating healthy. We're drinking 2 cups of coffee and a ridiculous amount of water during the day. Yes. And we're keeping our sugar intake with that regarding juice at a minimum as well. So now we want to get into physical activity, and we want to make ourselves we want to round it out.
Yes, definitely. We want to be well-rounded. So you guys are sitting at your desk. How many hours a day would you say?
I get in at 8, and I don't leave until 5:30. And if I bring lunch, I most likely will not leave my floor until I leave for the day. I've changed that. Last week, I changed that. I started going for walks around 2 o'clock, 2:30. So I'd eat lunch at 11:30, and then around 2 o'clock. It's when energy closes. So energy closes. I don't have to keep monitoring that 2:30. So 2:30, 2:45 before we go into the final hour of the close. I'll get up, I'll walk around, and I'll typically go outside and make the walk. Today it was not a good day to do it, so I didn't. But so that's but yeah, effectively 8 o'clock until 5:30, sometimes 6.
Okay, so not good to be sitting all day. And there's studies now that even show that sitting for more than 6 hours a day is worse than smoking cigarettes. So it's not good.
You're kidding me.
No. They're coming out
for the people that are smoking cigarettes and they're sitting for that long.
Double whammy.
You're getting your ass kicked. Okay.
Yes, I'm coming for you.
Uh-oh.
So the reason physical activity is important is for 2 things. One, you still want to just be maintaining a healthy weight and a healthy lifestyle by getting physical activity. Yep. And especially throughout the day, you need to give your brain some oxygen. Because if you're just sitting there all day, you're not moving. Your blood's not circulating through your entire body. Nothing.
Yeah.
So something that I do is I do 10 minutes of walking, going up the steps or something at 12 and 2. So 10 minutes at 12 and 2. I think a lot of people could fit that into their schedule. A lot of people eat lunch at 12. So when you're done eating lunch or right before lunch, just go for a walk around the office or go out to your car. Go outside if you can. That's even better. Give your mind a break and get the blood and oxygen circulating to your brain to help you, after that break, get back to work and get focused again.
So question for you, and this just
Yes.
came up with everything that you're saying. I'm going to coincide it with the volatility of the market as of recent. So we've been pretty quiet since Janet Yellen came in and made her Fed statement. I guess that was probably 2 weeks ago now. It was 2 Thursdays ago. 2 weeks ago from tomorrow. So market's been really quiet, but before then, back end of August was crazy, and then the first couple weeks of September were also pretty nuts. So we had a month stint where it was all over the place. And we're still sort of dealing with it. Monday was a crazy session as well. For the guys that are doing the intraday trading and they're sitting at their desk, they have to watch constantly throughout the day. If they're managing a big book of money, if their assets under management are big and they've got a lot of positions on, for those guys, are there any desk activities at all that would at least get them moving a little bit and still keep them in the vicinity to watch if a breaking headline comes in, that can still keep them active throughout the day, but keeps them sort of set. Exactly. At their desk or maybe near their desk, they're not taking a walk around the block, or they're not, they can still be in like a 30-second vicinity of their monitors.
Definitely. So even if you just get up and you're still looking at your computer and you just stretch your arms, stretch your quads, your legs, that's still getting your blood moving throughout your body, and that'll still wake you up if you are tired or whatever. You can either just do like 10 push-ups on the ground, or you could just stand there.
You could be that hardo in the office doing the push-ups. I'm gonna start trying that. I'm gonna start trying.
Get a push-up
competition. I like that. Okay.
You could literally just stand there and do 5 squats while you're looking at your screen, just to get yourself moving and just to feel a little better. You could do jumping jacks. I mean, it depends how much you want to sweat. I don't like sweating at work.
I am fired up, and I hope some people that I know are listening so they can have push-up contests and can.
I hope you walk into someone's office and they're on the ground doing push-ups, so you can embarrass them.
There are some people I would love to see doing it. I would be shocked with some people, but I would love to see other people do it. Fun.
So even if you stand
good.
up for 5 minutes, yes, do that. Or if you can't work out during the day, a lot of people can't. Just try to aim for either before or after work, 30 minutes on most days of the week. Shoot for 4 if you're not doing that
30 minutes of cardio? Is that 30 minutes of lifting? Is there any specific thing that after sitting all day that would maybe be best? I know, a lot of guys go to the gym and they're doing their power sessions. They've got, they're doing their squats, doing their bench presses. They might be on the row machine, working their back, and they might be doing bicep curls if they want to do a completely pointless exercise. So, for them, would you suggest maybe getting a little cardio and wrapping some cardio into that? Because I know a lot of people think cardio and they're like, I don't know about that. I don't really want to go down that route.
It honestly depends. If it's for weight loss purposes, it's always good to switch it up so your body's not used to doing one thing over and over again, because you're more likely to burn more calories that way. But if you're just trying to, get some exercise every day, do whatever you can do. Seriously, anything is better than nothing. If you like weightlifting, continue to weightlift.
Yep.
You want to go for a 30-minute walk, 20-minute walk outside, that's perfect. Just some type of movement, because you're sitting all day. And if you can do more than that, that's even better. But I would just shoot for 30 minutes most days of the week, because everybody's super busy. So,
awesome.
Or amp it up on the weekend if you have more time.
If you have more time on the weekends. I wish I had more weekends.
I know.
I feel like my weekends they're there and then they're not. It's Friday at 5:30 and then it's Sunday at 9 o'clock, and I'm like,
who invented 2-day weekends? Not me.
Not me either. I wish it was 3 days. I wish Monday did.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That would be sick.
Amazing.
So, you said earlier that you worked with athletes, and I kind of want to do a little bit of a crossover between the physical activity and sort of working on that training with athletes who are in that. I would call them performance-based. They have to perform at a certain level, an elite level for some, to get that W on their schedule. For traders, I would think that it would be very, very similar to compare it. And I know Mike Bellafiore over at S&P Capital sort of compares it all the time. That and I've written about it before as well. you kind of have to get in that mindset and get in your own game. It's
Yeah.
I like to compare it to golf more than anything, just because it's got such a mental aspect of things. Anybody can have that technical skill set and that raw skill set of trading, but at the end of the day, if you can't control your emotions, if you can't really get your mind right, you sort of get lost in translation, and you end up making poor decisions. So the crossover from training athletes on a physical level, I would assume on your end, you haven't dealt with any traders yet.
Yeah.
You know, except for me, exactly. So I'm a good specimen, but at the same time, I'm only one sample set. So would you determine, working with me and then working with other athletes, that there is a pretty significant crossover for dehydration purposes, just sort of being able to de-stress after, maybe a bad game and sort of get your head back into it? What's the crossover and maybe some of the differences that compare the two?
So it is different in the sense that for athletes, we're focusing on getting them proper nutrition and hydration for their bodies to perform. But with
Yeah.
you guys, it's getting your health and your mind ready to perform in your job.
Yep.
And that also deals with your health. So it's the same thing as far as you need to take care of your body in order
Yep.
to perform well, really. So it's kind of the same, but it's a little different.
Yeah, so it's okay. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. And did you ever have to deal with sort of like the mental aspect of things when you were dealing with professional athletes? Did you ever have a run-in with that? Maybe they realized that they were struggling with one of their physical ways to get themselves into a physical elite level, and they were maybe mentally stressed about that. Did you ever have to deal with anything like that when you were in that rotation?
A little bit. I mean, they're always stressed about being perfect because it was with collegiate athletes. So, they wanted to be the best. They were there on scholarships, so they had to prove themselves, or they were freshmen and they had to do their best. So it was nice because they were all super interested in the nutrition aspect, because they had their physical part and that job down. That's how they got here. But to improve that and take that to the next level, you need nutrition. That's why so many universities now have dietitians that work one-on-one with each athlete. So
that's why
that's what's putting them ahead of, say, other teams who don't have that yet, because not every university has a dietitian yet. They're still getting on board with it. So I feel like with you guys, you know what you need to do each day. I can't tell you how to trade, but I can tell you how to take care of your body, because you need to be on your game every day.
Yeah.
And, if you have a sick day, you can't afford that. That's going to cost you money, and that's not good.
That's not good. I like that. That's sort of a perfect summation, I guess, of the entire conversation, because we did start a little early. I think that's perfect, and I think that something that's really interesting that you sort of brought up was that a lot of these teams now have their own registered dietitian, that's working with one-on-one with a lot of their athletes, whether it be professional or collegiate. Have you seen anything in high school? Have you heard of anything in high school with people using RDs?
Not high school yet.
Not high school yet, but it's like there's potential there to actually start to develop people to get them into that collegiate level, because it's becoming more competitive, correct?
Yeah, and I would love to talk to high school athletes about that. I mean, when you come into college as a freshman, you look completely different as a senior when you leave, especially athletes. Like, if you look at football players, they're twigs when they come in. But if you could start, better nutrition and teaching them about protein and stuff when they're still seniors in high school, I feel like that could just make them 10 times better when they enter the collegiate world. So
that's insane. And I think that, I mean, so each desk, I feel, now has someone purely dedicated to trading psychology, and maybe this is the new step. This is the next step. Not just trading psychology, but the guys that didn't come onto a trading desk and maybe played a collegiate sport, maybe they were a little bit different on their end. And even, I mean, today desks have really morphed from the typical sell side, trader, a sales trader, even like a buy side trader. Those guys have differed a little bit because of the way that markets have sort of transitioned to electronic trading. These guys are, many of them are quantitative guys that may not have had the same, and I'm not shitting on them by any means, just to disclaim that, but these guys may have been at a different level, in college, and maybe they weren't in that competitive sport environment. So now they're working these long hours, and now they're working these hedge fund hours that maybe they're not used to, coding like crazy. Not only do you have to get that trading psychology edge down, but maybe you need to get that trading health edge down now too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, because you guys are so stressed too throughout the day, so that can also deteriorate your health. Just that alone can make you have poor health and get sick easier. So that's why nutrition is extra important for you guys.
It's not
stressful lives. I
have a stressful life. That's where we're gonna end on. I have a stressful life. That's it. No, this is awesome. I think a lot of people learned a lot. The people that didn't watch, they can catch it later. There's definitely a lot of awesome content in here. It was helpful for me. I love talking to you about this stuff because I always pick up.
Talking about it.
I know you do. That's why I brought you on. So I'm gonna do a shameless plug. You have a blog coming. You have a blog on the way. Yeah.
Yes, on the way.
It's on the way. And what is the blog title?
It's called My Wellness Ways, and if you want to email me with any questions or anything like that, just email me at mywellnessways@gmail.com.
Awesome.
And yeah, if you want to talk one-on-one, we can do that too, or whatever. I love talking about it.
Sweet. I love it. So, guys, if you're running into some, maybe you have your mental health down, but you're just struggling hardcore with your physical health, she's the person to talk to. She's cured all my illnesses, if you will. She and I have been talking a lot lately about what she wants to do with My Wellness Ways, and I think she's on to something with that. So she's serious about the one-on-ones too. If you want to reach out to her, I'm going to stick her email right below the BBMP episode 3 little paragraph that I have, sort of describing what we listened to tonight. And that's that.
Perfect.
Thanks for coming on.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I loved it.
Of course. Awesome. All right, guys. Have a good evening. And thank you again, Laura, for coming on. And again, if you want to reach out to her, email will be on the bottom. Have a good night, everybody.